Shama! Shama, where are you? Shama! Where in the world is that little lamb? She didn't come home tonight to the pen. Shama! Shama! Now, if it had been Darkhand or Nimshai, those sheep, man, they wander off way too often. I have spent many a night looking for them. But Shama, she never leaves. I've never lost her before. Shama! Shama! Where are you? Come home, please. Come home. Shama! What, you didn't know that sheep had names? Of course they do. How does a shepherd tell them apart? I know, there's a lot of bad shepherds out there. They get a bad rap from time to time. Most of us are poor and uneducated. Some of them are lazy. Some of them are not taking care of the sheep very well. Shama, you down here? You gotta check out these rocky crags because you never know where they might be. They're falling in. Shama. Yeah, you can always tell the bad shepherds from the good ones because the bad ones, well, their sheep are malnourished. Many of them are caught by the predators. Many of them are just not being taken care of. They get sick and die. Shama, you down here anywhere? Shama. No, but I'm not one of those shepherds. I'm a good shepherd. I really love my sheep a lot. And the fact is, they're kind of like my kids. You know, I don't have a family myself because, well, not too many women are too excited about being married to a shepherd who's out in the stinky fields all the day with the sheep. But, you know, someday, maybe I'll be able to leave this life and do something else so I can have a family. I mean, you know, shepherds are just not too high up on the social ladder there. Shama. They're just a little bit above prostitutes and tax collectors, but I really do love my sheep. And I have names for every one of them. And I make sure that they're well taken care of. The predators can't get to them. Now I actually have 100 sheep. Exactly 199 of them are back in the pen for the night. And it's a little bit dangerous there because something could come along and get them while I'm not there, but they're usually pretty safe together. But I've got to find Shama. Is she down here anywhere? Shama. I mean, there's a lot of risks out there. There's lots of predators that would love to be able to take a sheep and have it for dinner. The fact is, the very same predators, bears, wolves, lions, I'm pretty good prey for them too. So me being out here, I'm just as much at risk of the same fate that Shama has. But you know, if any one of my sheep leave, I go out looking for it. Shama! 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 You know, a shepherd not only risks his life for his sheep, but actually really gives up his life for the sheep. Because, you know, sometimes we just have to spend day in, day night taking care of them. We don't have much of a life outside of them. Not down here. But you know, the good shepherd is willing to give up his life for the sheep. The fact is, the shepherd is able to lead the sheep to where the grass is green, where the waters are still, where there's a lack of danger. Even when the good grass becomes scarce, he takes them up to the high levels and gets them some fresh water and grass that's up there. He takes care of every single one of them. Somebody else found a sheep. I'm still looking for Shama. Shama, where are you? Oh, brother. And now it's nighttime. I mean, have you ever tried to find a sheep in the dark, let alone during the daytime? But it's dangerous out there, and I want Shama back home, safe and sound. Hey, what is that I hear? Hey. Shama, is that you? Hey, it's you. Oh my goodness, you're stuck in that thorn bush. Oh my goodness, let's see if we can get you out here. Okay. Let's see. Okay, there we go. All right. Whew, lost a little wool there. Bet you're thirsty. Here, let me give you some water from my canteen. Okay. Oh, I'm so glad to have you back. So glad to have you back. Oh, my goodness. Well, I've lost you today. Gentlemen, you've never gone off before. You know, I'm really happy to see you. Let's go home. Put you up here on my shoulders, and we're going to go home. There's 99 other sheep that are going to be rejoicing. They'll be glad to have you back, and we're going to throw a party. Because you're here. All right, Shama. Phew, scared me there. The parable in Luke 15 is called the parable of the lost sheep, but it tells us more about shepherds than it does about the lost sheep. The sheep are not the point of the story. The shepherd is the point of the story. The parable, if you want to read it yourself in Luke 15, it's in there in your bulletins. It just gives a few verses. I kind of demonstrated what it might kind of look like to be that shepherd out looking for that sheep. But he finds the sheep. He's willing to leave the others behind in order to make sure that all are safe. And he searches until he finds it. He brings it back, and he rejoices. You know, that tired shepherd could have found that sheep and rebuked it. You stupid, ignorant sheep. How dare you wander off from me? But no, he doesn't do that. He could punish it, could beat it, could make it learn its lesson for wandering away. He could be really disgusted by it. Man, you got into all kinds of dirty and smelly stuff while you were out. Oh, pew-wee. You need to go clean yourself up, and then we'll talk about you coming back to the fold. He could have just said, you know what? You wasted my time. You made a laughingstock out of me. I'm selling you. I'm getting rid of you. You know, you're the first one that goes off the market to be on somebody's table next week. But no, he didn't do that. The shepherd, when he finds it, he lays it on his shoulders. He rejoices and calls his friends together afterwards and say, come celebrate with me. And that's the story that we have, that's what goes on. When a lost soul is found, how much more is there celebration up in heaven over those that have been found? And maybe today you're here as a lost sheep. If you're here as a lost sheep, the shepherd, Christ, wants to find you. He wants you to be with him and him in you. And everything that he has done for us, all of us, gives us the opportunities to be found and to not be lost sheep anymore in this world. It's interesting because all of us, at one point in our life, are lost sheep. And as I said earlier, he calls all of us, once we've been found, he wants us to help him be the shepherd and to find other sheep as well, to help the lost ones find the good shepherd. And so when we think about that, that's the job of those that are already in the fold, the sheep that are here. And I'm going to switch parables here, and I'm going to tell you another story that illustrates the role that we have, just as individuals and as the church. And I think you'll see the parallel here. This was not written by me. It was written by a guy named Frank Voigt, called The Life-Saving Station. I'll be reading it to you here. On a dangerous seacoast where shipwrecks often occur, there was a crude little life-saving station. The building was just a hut. There was only one boat. And there were a few devoted members that kept a constant watch over the sea. They had no thought for themselves. They just went out day and night on their shift, searching tirelessly for the lost. And many lives were saved by that wonderful little station. So many lives were saved that it became famous. And some of those who had been saved, and various others in the surrounding area, they all wanted to be a part of this famous life-saving station. And so they gave their time, they gave their money, they gave all their effort and support to this work. They got new boats, and they got new crews, and they were trained, and that little life-saving station was able to do so much more than before. But some of the members of the life-saving station, they became unhappy because they realized our building is rather crude, we're poorly equipped. They felt like we should make a place even more comfortable so that those that are saved can come in and find even better refuge from the sea. So they replaced all the emergency little folding up cots with beds, and they put better furniture in the enlarged building. Now, the life-saving station became a popular gathering place for its members. They redecorated it beautifully. They furnished it exquisitely, and it became kind of like a club to them. It was where they spent their free time. When they weren't out saving people in the sea, they were hanging out there in the club. But what happened was fewer and fewer members were now interested in going out to sea on the life-saving missions, so they hired crews to go out and do the work for them. Well, they stayed back and managed the club. The life-saving motif still prevailed in the club decoration, and they had a symbolic life-saving boat that was up on the wall hanging in the room where the initiations took place. One day, a very large ship was wrecked right off the coast near the life-saving station, and the hired crew brought in boatloads of cold, wet, and half-drowned people. They were dirty, they were sick. Some of them weren't from around there. They were from other places that even people here had never heard of before. Some had different colors of skin that they hadn't seen before. They spoke in languages that they didn't understand. The beautiful club was considerably messed up after this influx of people came into it for refuge. So the property committee immediately had a shower house built outside the club where the victims of the shipwrecks could be cleaned up before they came inside. Lesson learned. At the next meeting, a split took place in the club membership. Most of the members said, "Why don't we stop all these life-saving activities? It's so unpleasant, it takes up our time, it's such a hindrance and a distraction to our normal life of the club. Look at that, we've got a social calendar full of things going on. Bingo, backgammon, all kinds of fun stuff going on. The fishing trip next Tuesday." And some members insisted that life-saving was their primary purpose. And they pointed out that they were still called a life-saving station. But those few were voted down over the popular opinion that, hey, let's be a life-saving club. They were told if they wanted to save the lives of more people, that they needed to go start their own life-saving station somewhere down the coast. So those few did. They left and started their own life-saving station where they were devoted to helping people in the perils of the sea. As the years went by, that new station experienced the same change that occurred in the old. It evolved into a club. So eventually, another life-saving station was founded, a little few miles down the coast. History kept repeating itself, and if you visit that coast today, you will find a number of exclusive clubs along that shore. Shipwrecks are still frequent in those waters, but most people drown. There are too few dedicated to saving them. You probably get the parallel there. Is our church a life-saving club or a life-saving station? What are we? What are we, not just as this church, but the churches in town, the churches around us in the area, in the world? Are churches more like life-saving stations or life-saving clubs? Are we as concerned about what goes on out there as we are what goes on in here? Are there sheep outside the fold that need our attention? Are we able to leave the 99 to go out there to find the one? I've shared before the statistic that motivates me. 80% of churches in the United States are dying. They're going down in numbers. They're going down in their effectiveness. 80%. Only 20% of churches are growing. That is, there's life in it, new people coming and new ministries added and more people ministered to by the people in the church. 20%. And out of that 20%, 19% grow because people in the church have babies or people come there from other churches. Maybe their church became a life-saving club and they said, let's go to a church that's being a life-saving station. Or it could be as simple as, we don't like the music, we don't like the pastor, we don't like the way things are being done. I mean, some things are legitimate, some things are just our own personal preferences. But only 1% of churches are growing because the people in that church are reaching and looking for the lost sheep that are out there and bringing them in. Only 1 out of 100 churches in this country are doing that. The very thing that Jesus wants us to do. Why are most churches not doing this? Because we've lost the passion for the lost. We forgot that we were once lost sheep, and somebody helped find us. It could have been our parents. It could have been our grandparents. It could have been a neighbor. It could have been a friend. It could have been a coworker, somebody we go to school with. But people reached out to us and said, you're a lost sheep. Come with me and be found by Christ. And when we find Christ, we're transformed and we become a part of something. We're like, this is great. There's other people here who have been lost sheep before, and we've all been found. But we lose the passion. We forget what it's like to have been a lost sheep. We forget what it's like to be a lost sheep out there. I'm not against our church growing because we have babies. There's not too many of us in here that are in that life stage right now, although it trickles in that way. Hint, hint. We are welcoming people. If other people from other churches find what they need here, we're welcoming them. We're not going out and deliberately stealing sheep from other churches. We would never want to be about that. We're not sheep stealers, but we want to be doing what God wants us to do. And if that attracts people, then more power. Let's work together to see that happen. Every year in this country, about 8,000 to 10,000 churches close their doors. 8,000 to 10,000 close because they get to a place where they became a club and they're no longer reaching the new people that are out there. The good news is, even though 8,000 to 10,000 are closing every year, about 4,000 begin every year. And that's probably because of just what we saw in this illustration. There are people that say, things are dead around here. We can't get the dead horse back to life again, so let's go out and start over again. And there are people that have a passion to be a life-saving station. So they begin a new movement, a new church, in order to do that. So at about 50%, we're kind of replacing ourselves as far as individual churches. Those that were at one time were life-saving stations but cease to exist. The churches that see themselves as life-changing stations are the ones that grow. Where that's a movement and a passion and an important value in the church to be a life-saving station, those are the churches that grow. The churches that lose that, they begin their demise. And it just takes time for people to grow old and die off in order for that to happen. We are concerned about filling the pews. We are concerned about having enough money to meet the budget. We are concerned about having enough volunteers to help with the nursery and Sunday school and the youth ministry and all these different things that we do. We're concerned about those things. We're concerned about paying for a new roof. We're concerned about making sure that the heat stays on and the air conditioner stays on, and those are all legitimate concerns. But to keep those things all going, it's going to take more than just the ones that are here. We've got to keep reaching out and bringing in more lost sheep so that they can be the answer to some of those needs that we have. We definitely want to do everything that God's called us to do, but we can't always do it on our own, and we shouldn't have to do it on our own, because the more people that get involved, then the more things we can do, and we can do it better. Now, occasionally, a person will stumble into a church on their own. A lost sheep finds its way back home on its own. That does happen from time to time. Maybe that happened with you. But most lost sheep are not going to find their way back to the pen all by themselves. Why? If you're here last week, then you know the answer to that. It's because people out there are spiritually, blind, they're spiritually deaf, and they're spiritually dead, okay? If people are spiritually blind, okay, Satan's blinded their eyes spiritually, how are they going to be able to find their way back home? If people are deaf spiritually, how are they going to hear to know the way to the truth? If they're spiritually dead, then what happens in here at this time on Sunday morning and different times during the week has very little importance to them. I meet people in town. They ask me what I do. And I say, I'm the pastor of First Christian Church. And they immediately ask me, I get to ask this all the time, where's that at? Okay, people that live in this town, this little dinky town of 3,000 people, don't even know what this building is. Or if I say the name, they have no clue. They drive by it all the time, but they've never stopped to look. They've never stopped to hear. They've never stopped to even pay attention. Because they're spiritually blind, deaf, and dead. Okay? They don't even know what our building is. Okay? We tend to kind of think that we kind of know the town, but there are people that spiritually, man, it's not even on their radar at all. So what do? There's so many ways that we can do it. Last week we talked about that as well. There are 3 things, and this is going to be our theme over the next year, 2017. So if you don't have it memorized yet, you will by a year from now, I promise you, okay? There are 3 things we can do. We can live it. We could live our faith, and our example can show other people that are out there. Anybody know what the second one is? Show it. Yeah, some of you got it. We can show it through our love, through our service, not just them watching from the outside at our example that we live, but when we actually get involved in their lives and we serve them and we love them. We step out of our own comfort zones and do that. We show them the love of God. And then we can also speak it, okay? We have opportunities to be able to share through our words how people can know that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. And some of us do one of those things better or worse than other things. We just need to work on all of them so that we're all better at living it, we're better at showing it, and better at speaking it, okay? And that's what a lot we're going to do over the next year here on Sunday mornings is helping us learn to be able to do those things. I hope that a year from now that we are all better shepherds at reaching out and looking for the lost sheep. That's my vision over the next year. You'll hear more about it as we get into January. Actually, you're going to hear about it a lot during Advent season because I'm already giving some previews into that as I'm preparing for Advent. If Jesus came into the world, he came on a mission, okay? That's what we celebrate at Christmas time. So that's going to be a part of our time here is learning about Jesus' mission and coming here. And how can we be a part of it? Now, some of you are probably saying, well, yes, we need a shepherd, but that's what we pay you for. Okay? There might be a couple of you thinking that. That's why we hire you. You're supposed to go out there and get people to come. And believe me, I'm working on it, but I'm only one person. Okay? I'm a shepherd taking care of 99, but also looking for the one. Okay? So I can't totally abandon the 99. Okay? Because that would be dangerous too. But there are times during my week, I leave the 99 and I go out there and spending time with the ones that are out there. This one, and that one, and that one. But if all of us are doing that, we all have the one, and the one, and the one, that we are living it, showing it, and speaking it to, then eventually those lost sheep will find their way into Christ. They'll find their way into the pews. They'll be amongst the 99. And we are all doing it. Not because we want to be the biggest church in town. We just want to be the church that's full of people that are reaching the lost, okay? That's what we want to be a part of. And there's a lot of lost people out there, even little old Arcola. I was a missionary. That was my job, was to go out and find lost sheep. I did that for 15 years in another country. And I had the awesome experience of being able to be involved in searching for sheep. That was my job. But to be honest, I didn't always kind of know what I was doing. I had a compassion for people, and I knew the truth, and I tried to bring those things together the best I could. And I wanted to see this lost sheep brought in, and I did my part. And then I came back to America, and for the last 10 years, been doing that on this soil to a certain extent. But the last couple of years, I've had a mentor, a woman that has been a master sheep searcher for the last 50 years of her life. And even though she's in her mid-70s, it is her passion, not only that sheep are brought in, but that other Christians are trained and understand how to be sheep searchers. And for the last 2 years, I've been taking a class, and a few of you here took one of the classes with me, and I'm just about done with all 4 of them. But these classes have just showed me so much. What I was doing wrong before, what I can do right in my context, and as I've been able to put some of this stuff into practice, my life is very different now. I've been spending 25 years searching for sheep, but doing a lot of things wrong. because I just didn't understand, or I heard something somewhere and I tried that and it didn't work, and it was kind of hit and miss on a lot of things. Starting in January, I want to offer this course for people in our church community. If you have a passion, you want to know more about how to be able to search for sheep, if you want to dig a little deeper into it than what I'm going to be offering in general to everybody, come talk to me. You'll be hearing more about it. There's actually a brochure in your bulletin that tells about it, just some details, what the classes kind of look like. If you're interested in that, talk to me, because we'll find a way to do this together, and we can learn together how to be better at searching for sheep. One of the reasons for 25 years that I wasn't as effective in searching for sheep is because I kind of liked being in the life-saving club a little more than I liked being a life-saving station. If I were to be honest, for 25 years of my adult life, that was kind of my main thing, and I liked being a part of the club, and I liked being able to encourage people in the club and teach them things and make sure that the club had what it needed so that when the people got rescued, they could come in and be a part of it. And that's a part of it, but I didn't really like the life-saving part of it as much. And fortunately, there were other people out there that really liked doing that, and they had this gift of evangelism that I didn't feel like I had, and so I thought, well, let them do it. They can be the hired crew out there doing it, and then they can kind of pass them off to me a little bit. And so I was kind of in that mode a little bit. But over the course of the last couple of years, I can tell you now, I love being a lifesaver as much, if not more, of being in the life-saving club. I mean, it is so exciting to get involved in people's lives and to be salt and light to them, as Jesus said, to be able to help direct them so that they can see God for who he is. Because these people are blind and deaf and dumb and dead. And they need the Lord. And to be able to be a part of that process, not a lot of fruit comes right away. It's a lot of work. But it's great to see. And when you see the progress, and you think that person was there then, and now they're over here a little bit. They're more open and working along that process. It's such a great thing to be a part of. And I would hope that would be something that would excite all of you that are here today. We could be a part of something really big together. Really big together. If you want to do the class, it's going to take 3 or 4 hours a week of time to do it. There's homework. There's things to memorize. You're not going to have to memorize a bunch of Bible verses that you go out and tell everybody. It's not that kind of thing. The first course is just understanding what it means to be a shepherd and what are some principles that we take to be able to understand how to do that. And what to say to people, that comes later. We're not going to force anybody to get up and go stand on a street corner and start preaching. It's nothing like that at all. It's all through relationships. So if you're interested in being a part of that, talk to me. We'll get it going in January. We got some time to do that. If you just want to sit back a little bit and say, I'll just kind of take in what I can here on Sundays, that's fine too, because I'm going to take you to some new places with that over the next year. I mentioned that we as lost sheep become shepherds. We help bring in other lost sheep. But the exact opposite thing happened. Our great shepherd, Jesus, he became a sheep. He became the Lamb of God that takes away the sins of the world. He identified with us, and when he came and was born as a man, as a baby, in that manger, in that stable in Bethlehem, he became the lost lamb. Now, he pretty much had his act together, but on the cross, when he took upon the punishment for our sins, he became that sacrificial lamb that was lost. And he was such a perfect sacrifice that it was the acceptable, perfect sacrifice that allows us to be forgiven of our sins. We no longer have to take a little lamb and sacrifice it on the altar to do so. But Jesus became that Lamb of God for us. And as we celebrate communion today, we think about what he's done for us and how we can assist him in being that shepherd, and we keep moving forward in that way. As we prepare for communion,